know, I can hit this creep camp at this level with like 2 footies, stuff like that, and like where can I run if a blademaster is chasing me to avoid the most likely scenario of it getting owned by a shadow hunter. So, you know, you can run it past people's bases, stuff like that, but just knowing like simple little routes like going around the fountain and then going back around the trees and faking him and stuff like that. They're nifty little map moves that you can learn on every map, and basically the best way to do that is to actually watch pro replays. And I am totally ignoring the fact that Michael is losing a bunch of peasants at his expo, and really, it didn't make much of a difference. Well, I mean, it doesn't, because the Blademaster gets a few more EXP points. I don't think he lost, he lost a grunt, never mind. But, yeah, that was just basic expo defense. Loses a raider at his base, that's a bummer. And he's really short on lumber right now, but when you had the expo and your regular main, it's pretty easy just to pump out a bunch of lumber peons. Sorry, I'm watching peons get owned right now. / hide in burrows. But he is continuing this harassment, which is good. It just delays anything that Fly will do. Orc isn't really a lumber-intensive race, but if they don't have, if they don't have enough burrows, which he doesn't right now because he's at 4140, and plus you can't get all the Spirit Walker upgrades and everything that you need, and you can't necessarily go tier 3 as early as you would like, which is generally what Orc players will do nowadays. Because, you go for the expo, they're obviously going to go for the tech, just because they can get the quick tech off, and a fast expo really kind of blows with Orc, depending on the map. So, basically what he decides to do is, basically what you do is you delay the tier 3, which means no orb, and no Wind Rider upgrade. Right now the vault is getting sacked. The orc is breaking into the vault, if you will. But he's got very good tower placement right now, which a lot of human players usually don't have. Like when I watch, various people's replays who ask me to watch their replays, the main concern that I have is that their tower placement kind of sucks, the big one. Because what they do is they have the 2 or 3 towers out front, and they don't even have any farms or any arcane vaults. Like they have their main base blocked off. Good for them. That's pretty easy to do. But a lot of people won't actually block off their expo and block off their towers behind various farms and other buildings. I've seen some better players even build things like a lumber mill or a blacksmith in front of their towers. And yeah, they're not very big buildings, but it's pretty important to have in front of the towers just so that they can't really maneuver that well and pick them off pretty quickly, just like footies. Because, towers don't actually have that much HP, they have 700. Okay, that's a lie, they have a lot of HP. But until they're upgraded, they don't have much. So it just avoids any unpleasantries. And right now, more item usage, he's picked up a Tome of Retraining, the Invisi Potion, and the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, and he's going to Paladin second, for those of you who missed it. Basically, this is sort of like the Mr. Cygnus strategy. Well, not Mr. Cygnus' strategy, because I don't think he ever used it, but he basically, at one point, talked about going Paladin first for the Devotion Aura, and then going Mass Griffins with the Anti-Bat Rider Aura, and getting a bunch of upgrades, because you have 3,000 armor, which would sort of make Bat Riders a little useless. And basically, it's sort of like that. If you watch the other replay that I included, as I said, I'd be referring to it. Good use of the Invulnerability Potion, just to avoid being ensnared. But yeah, if you notice in the next replay, he doesn't go, he goes Holy Light level 2, obviously. He doesn't go Divine Shield level 2, though. He goes Devotion Aura. And it's just pretty good for upgrades and things. And it just makes it so that 2 Bat Riders can't really take out a Griffin as easily as it could. So, more staff usage, which is pretty sweet. And right now he's actually creeping with the Paladin. So he's basically preventing any expo from going up at this moment, which does waste a bunch of lumber for fly, because, you know, obviously it costs lumber to cancel. Yeah, you lose money when you cancel stuff. Anyways, Paladin's still level 1. Level 2 is pretty important just because it won't die as quickly, and that's pretty much the main thing. You don't want your Paladin to die. He is going Bloodmage 3rd, which is a rather interesting idea to do. And what this does is it allows his Griffins not only to do more damage to banished units, but it also allows him to save heroes and have basically unlimited mana for no matter what. Like, even if he didn't have Brilliance Aura, that's pretty much unlimited mana, as long as you can keep sucking the mana out of their heroes as effectively as possible. So, not sure where he's going with this Paladin, but whatever. Fly just lost a Spirit Walker to creeps. I totally missed that the first time I watched this. That is hilarious. Man, I thought I was an idiot when I lost things to creeps. Apparently pros do it, so it's okay, guys. You can start losing units to creeps whenever you feel like it. So, yeah, you'll notice Griffins already have the armor upgrade. Well, one armor upgrade, which is pretty important, getting armor upgrades, especially when they have no expo, because generally if they don't have an expo, they'll have to rely more on Bat Riders than they can on rely on Wind Riders, because generally you need an expo just to match up the Wind Riders to be able to, you know, take out Griffins effectively. That's what I was going for. Those are the words I was looking for. So, Witch Doctor gets owned. That's a smart thing to have as an Orc player, actually, is just have a Witch Doctor running around placing wards. This way you can actually, you know, jack them more effectively, catch them in bad positioning, and then you can creep more with your Blademaster. Just kidding. And basically, smart move, he passes the staff, and then he's going to banish the Paladin and staff him out. And basically, banish gets rid of any ensnare. The only problem is it reduces your movement speed. It does last long enough to be effective, though. Check that out, a banished rat / bunny. That was a bunny, never mind. So, unfortunately, the Blood Mage goes down, which is too bad. Of course, he did, you know, waste a bunch of Spirit Walker mana, which is good, but losing your hero is probably worse. So right now he's just going to hide behind his towers, losing a couple footies. Always a bummer, because it just means quicker level 5. But there's not really much you can do, especially when you're playing for a late game. Yeah, delaying the level 5 is also super important to do, just because it means they can do like 200 plus damage critical strikes, which is just gross. So, anyways, continuing on. Crap, I just got out of sync. Alright, I'm at 17, 15, alright. Yeah, sorry, I hit the Alt-Tab button, and things went wonky. So, he's actually getting a couple knights right now, because it's good to have some sort of